Buckle up, because today we're going deep with Katt Williams.
Yeah, we're going to break down his appearance on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay.
And let me tell you, this interview is explosive.
Katt does not hold back.
It's Katt unfiltered, and it is a wild ride.
Totally. And right away, you get the sense that he chose this platform for a reason.
Yeah, like he sees Shannon Sharpe as someone he can really talk to.
Right. Someone he can trust to let him speak his truth.
Which is interesting because he calls out other comedians who've been on the show.
Yeah. Specifically, Ricky Smiley and Cedric the Entertainer.
He basically says they weren't being honest.
Yeah, he even compares it to, like, having an athlete on who used steroids and letting them lie about it.
Whoa, that's a strong comparison.
Definitely sets the tone for the whole interview.
Like Katt saying, I'm here to set the record straight.
He's not afraid to ruffle some feathers.
And nowhere is that more clear than when he gets into the whole Friday After Next controversy.
Oh, yeah. Remember, Ricky Smiley said that he was originally supposed to play Money Mike.
And Katt is like, no.
He completely shuts that down.
He even says that he rewrote a lot of Money Mike's dialogue.
And get this, he says the original script had a scene where Money Mike was assaulted in the bathroom.
Seriously?
Yeah, and Katt says he convinced the studio to change it.
That's crazy. I never knew that.
It really shows you how invested Katt was in creating that character.
He wasn't just going to say any lines they gave him.
He really had a vision for Money Mike, and he fought for it.
And it's not just that situation. Katt is very critical of some of his other comedy peers, too.
Like Steve Harvey's Cedric the Entertainer.
Obviously, Ricky Smiley.
He critiques their comedy. He questions their success, even their personal choices.
He even says that Cedric's comedy specials are so bad you can't even find them on streaming services.
He's not holding back at all.
It's kind of brutal, but also kind of hilarious.
I think it shows how seriously Katt takes his craft, you know?
Like he's saying, I put in the work and I expect others to do the same.
But he's not just talking about individual comedians. He also hints at a bigger issue within the industry.
Yeah, he uses the phrase comedy cabal.
He suggests that there are these powerful figures who decide who gets ahead and who gets shut out.
Like a system that favors some and blackballs others?
And it's not just talk. He says he's turned down roles in multiple Kevin Hart movies because he didn't agree with the content.
Really?
Yeah. And he even talks about an encounter with Harvey Weinstein where he was allegedly propositioned.
Wow, this is getting really serious.
He's saying he rejected Weinstein and he believes he was punished for it professionally.
That's intense.
And then he drops this bombshell about being homeless right before Friday After Next.
What?
Yeah, he says some unexpected dental surgery costs wiped out his savings, and he ended up living in a trailer on set.
You're kidding.
Well, he even claims that some of his co-stars were struggling financially, too.
This is blowing my mind.
It definitely challenges the whole glamorous image of Hollywood.
You think these guys are making millions and then you hear this?
It's a reminder that success isn't always what it seems.
And for Katt, that success was definitely hard-won.
His path to comedy was anything but traditional.
It's wild to think about him reading encyclopedias as a kid.
And performing in front of crowds at like such a young age.
Like it's almost as if he was always meant to be on stage.
It's true. Even his entry into comedy is so unique.
Selling products door to door.
And living with sex workers in Oklahoma City.
You don't hear that kind of backstory every day.
Definitely not your typical path to stand-up stardom.
But you can see how those experiences might have influenced his comedy.
Yeah, like giving him a different perspective on life and people.
And he talks about how important it is to tailor your material to the audience.
He even says he could do both clean and blue comedy equally well.
That's pretty impressive.
Not many comedians can pull that off.
It's like having two completely different skill sets.
And he really emphasizes the importance of constantly writing new jokes.
He's not afraid to try new stuff and see how it lands.
He even uses audience feedback to make his material better.
He's like, okay, I hear you guys didn't like that joke. Moving on.
He's always evolving.
He even says that he thinks most comedians don't get booed enough.
Interesting take.
He's like, those boos can actually help you become a better comedian.
They tell you what's not working.
And he doesn't have much patience for comedians who just rely on old material.
Yeah, he's like, if you're not pushing yourself, you're falling behind.
And get this, he admits to analyzing other comedian sets, like counting their laughs per minute.
Seriously?
It's like he's got a comedy algorithm running in his head.
That's hilarious.
He's trying to figure out the formula for success.
And he's not wrong. The comedy landscape has changed so much with the internet.
Yeah, you can't just tell the same jokes over and over again.
People expect fresh material.
It's got to be a lot of pressure for comedians these days.
Definitely. And Katt doesn't hesitate to call out those he sees as not keeping up.
Like he says some are telling stolen jokes or just haven't adapted to the times.
It's brutal, but it's kind of true.
But then again, this is Katt Williams we're talking about.
Always keeping it real.
And he's been so open about the challenges he's faced in the industry.
Yeah, talking about being blackballed, targeted by powerful figures.
It's a side of Hollywood that we don't often hear about.
He even tells a story about getting sued by Disney back when he was performing his Cat in the Hat.
Seriously, Disney sued him.
Yeah, they sent him a cease and desist.
Even though he wasn't making much money at the time.
It just shows how protective big corporations can be.
And how tough it can be for young artists to break through.
But Katt didn't back down. He changed his name and kept going.
He's a fighter.
He's faced so many setbacks, arrests, legal battles.
But he always seems to come back stronger.
And he's not just focused on himself. He's also a big advocate for women in comedy.
He really believes in their talent and their professionalism.
He even talks about how he prefers working with women over men.
He says they're often more capable and trustworthy.
That's a pretty bold statement.
He's definitely not afraid to challenge the status quo.
And he's not just talking about it. He actually hires women for his team.
He puts his money where his mouth is.
And there's even a story about him secretly giving money to struggling female comedians during his tours.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, he was like their silent benefactor.
He's really trying to make a difference in the industry.
He's also a mentor to a lot of young comedians.
Sharing his knowledge and experience to help them navigate the business.
It's kind of like he's trying to break the cycle of cutthroat competition.
Instead of tearing people down, he's building them up.
Which is refreshing to see in an industry that can be so brutal.
But he's not afraid to call people out when he thinks they're not putting in the work.
Especially those who rely on others to write their material.
He's like, you got to earn your stripes.
It's not about taking shortcuts. It's about mastering your craft.
And he's also critical of comedians who say they don't want to be movie stars.
He thinks it's often a cover for not being able to make the transition from stand-up to film.
Like, it's not that they don't want it, it's that they can't do it.
It's an interesting perspective.
And he talks about how some roles require a certain depth and skill set. Yeah.
He's basically saying, not everyone can pull off a money mic.
It takes a special kind of talent.
And, of course, he's very open about the struggles he faced before that breakthrough role.
Being homeless, having to live in a trailer on set.
It's crazy to think about that now.
But it shows you how far he's come.
And he even addresses the rumors about Ice Cube not paying his actors fairly on the Friday movies.
He defends Cube, actually.
He's like, you should be grateful for the opportunity to work on such a groundbreaking project, even if the pay isn't great.
It's a different way of looking at it.
And then he makes his analogy about shopping at Goodwill.
He's like, you can't complain about the prices.
You get what you pay for.
I love his analogies.
And he's always got something to say about other celebrities.
Like, he talks about Chris Tucker not coming back for the Friday sequels.
He speculates that maybe Tucker's religious beliefs played a role.
It's interesting to think about the pressures that celebrities face.
To maintain a certain image, even if it conflicts with their personal lives.
And Katt's not afraid to criticize actors who rely on sexualized roles or taking their shirts off in every movie.
He's challenging them to push beyond those stereotypes.
And he even goes after Tyler Perry?
He's like, Perry hasn't actually made any of his actors famous.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It's Katt. He's never one to hold back.
But when it comes to women in the industry, he's actually incredibly supportive.
He really believes in giving them opportunities.
He even talks about specific roles that he thinks women are better suited for.
Like being more organized, detail-oriented.
It's interesting to hear him break down those gender stereotypes.
And he's not just saying these things. He's living them.
Hiring women for his team, advocating for them behind the scenes.
He's putting his words into action.
It's clear that he wants to see a more equitable industry.
And his views on everything from race to social justice are so fascinating.
He's got such a unique perspective.
He's not afraid to talk about the tough stuff.
The stuff that most people shy away from. He's lived a life, man.
It's not all jokes and punchlines.
He talks about growing up in tough neighborhoods, seeing violence and crime.
Experiencing it firsthand.
Even being shot in the leg.
That's heavy stuff.
It's a reminder of the reality that so many people face.
A reality that we often don't see or choose to ignore.
And he's open about his own struggles with the law, too.
Multiple arrests, he says, a lot of them, for marijuana possession.
He feels like he was targeted.
And he believes the laws surrounding marijuana are unjust.
Which ties into the whole conversation about the criminal justice system.
And how it disproportionately affects people of color.
It's bigger than just Katt's personal experiences.
It's a systemic issue.
But what's amazing is that through all of this, Katt remains optimistic.
Yeah, he's got this incredible resilience.
He still loves comedy. He's still dedicated to his fans.
And he truly believes that the truth will come out.
It's inspiring, honestly.
To go through so much and still have that kind of hope.
And he ends the interview with this really powerful message.
About living each day like it's your last.
Making every moment count, pursuing your passions.
Living with intention.
It's a call to action.
Like, don't waste your time on things that don't matter.
Figure out what's important to you and go after it.
Katt's whole journey from his crazy path to comedy to his outspoken views on everything, it's all about authenticity.
Being true to yourself.
Even when it's hard, even when people try to shut you down.
It's a reminder to all of us to use our voices to speak up for what we believe in.
To fight for what's right, even if it means going against the grain.
And to find the humor in the darkness.
Because sometimes laughter is the only way to get through it.
Katt Williams, man, he's one of a kind.
I think we all learned a lot from this deep dive.
We definitely scratched the surface of his incredible story.
If you haven't already, go check out some of his work.
His stand-up, his movies, his interviews.
You won't regret it.
This is one comedian who will make you think, make you laugh, and probably challenge everything you thought you knew.
And maybe, just maybe, he'll inspire you to live a little more boldly, a little more authentically.
And who knows, maybe even a little more like Katt Williams.
Now, that would be something they